Welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I want to talk about point color. It's something that's recently been added to Blender 3.1, right? And also 3.2 alpha. It's really simple, basically. So you start with default cube, and if you create geometry nodes, and you try using something like UV sphere. I'll try using UV sphere for now. It's simpler, and I rarely use UV sphere, but this is actually quite useful. And you have UV with the UV sphere, of course. Okay. I use mesh to points, and in this version of Blender, if you switch to cycles, you will actually see the points rendered as sphere. Okay, so let's save this very quickly. Point cloud study. If we take a look at the geometry nodes spreadsheet, we can observe this a little bit further. Okay, so point cloud is becoming like a special entity, and whatever value you pass into the color or attributes, it's becoming part of the point cloud. This is not so obvious at first, but I'll show it to you in a bit. So it's using the principle VSDF. If you assign a material, set material, you can assign the default materials, and it will not render color, but you can. Apparently, if you use like a random value, let's try this. Switch this to vector, so it's like RGB, and there's a random value between 0 and 1. Plug this value out. And then in here, under geometry nodes output, let's just assign it to blah. Okay, this is like random custom attributes, and this is the value coming in, and you can use it. So if you're thinking to use Vertex Color, that's wrong. You need to use attribute, because this is a custom attribute, and you can name it, and then you just plug this as color. Now we have random color. Okay, so this is the basic idea. So you can make changes to your UV sphere, so it will work. What you shouldn't try to do is to, I think if you actually create like a Vertex Color and name it the same name as the point cloud, it's gonna crash Blender. I don't know, I have to test that again, but let's try. Let's study this a little bit. Okay, with the point. Okay, if you use point info, I show you in the previous live noding. You can use like a position. Plug this into the base color. You can see this is based on the position. Vertex vector position is gonna give the color. You can also use radius. If you use random, if you set radius here, point radius, and set a random value, you're gonna get, okay, different shape, and this will correspond with the color. So this is also pretty useful, and you can remap the point radius with different color using color ramp, for example. Just you can remap the value, I believe. Not so obvious, but I think with random, we tried this before in the previous live noding. Okay, random value between 0 and 1. It's not exactly the same as this random color from our this custom attribute blah. Okay, this color, however, this is under point cloud, right? It's not Vertex Color. Okay, you need to be aware of that. So let's save this for now. I will show you another example. So this is a point cloud, and it will render, and it's beautiful. You can use it with a point cloud that you 3D scan it, or photogrammetry, whatever. But back to geometry nodes. Let's say you want to pass this blah value into the vertex color. So it's different actually. It's not points, but it's mesh. Okay. So by default, geometry nodes try to be clever and then just pass the color into vertex anyway, even though we don't have this custom vertex color. What I mean is that it's not yet assigned into face corner. We want the color to go into the face corner in order for it to be like a real Blender mesh data with vertex color. Okay, so it's might be slightly confusing, but I'll make another duplicate. Okay, originally this guy is just a cube. Okay, if I apply this sphere and look at the vertex color, we don't have the color. If I create a color, so we have these attributes that normally we can paint. Let's give it a paint. So this is showing the vertex color, and this can be rendered. Okay, so in order to do that with geometry nodes, however, we probably need to apply this first. So you want to bake this random color as a normal vertex color. So the normal vertex color data resides inside face corner, not vertex color. Well, it's showing on both, but you want to transfer the color from here into the vertex corner. In order to do that, you need to let me kill this, create a new material, vertex color, and geometry nodes attributes. Let me try to do this correctly. We're gonna use blah and plug it there. Okay, this is the random color from geometry nodes, from that attribute, right? It's if I use like X, it will not show up blah. So this is correct. This is from the geometry nodes, okay? But we want to bake it into the face corner. At the moment, face corner is showing the red color only. Okay, in order to bake the actual color, we need to go to cycles. Under bake, we can bake using emit and bake this. Instead of image texture, we want to bake it into vertex color. All right, and instead of using principle, we use emission, so it's like the full color goes into the surface to be baked. Now we can hit bake. The color should goes into from vertex color. From this goes into the face corner. It should match 0.611 blah blah blah, goes to the face corner. Yes. So now if we duplicate this and then go under vertex paint, you can see this color is correct. We can paint on top of it as normal. Okay, but the only thing is, of course, when you're doing the bake and things like this, you need to apply geometry nodes first. Remember, we are assigning the value into blah. Be careful, if you have the same name, it's gonna crash Blender. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. This is using the geometry nodes attributes and it's rendered fine. If I plug this, it's gonna crash Blender. Okay, it's something to keep in mind. Be careful with the naming. There's kind of like a hidden call attributes, and you shouldn't mix the two. So let's get back to this guy. Okay, this this guy, what's this material? This is using, okay, use UV sphere, plug into this. If I use the point radius instead of using random, if I use like noise value, plug into this output, we're gonna get this color noise. The value is not normalized yet. I'm gonna use vector mass minus 0.5. Now the value is normalized. We can have more details, 60 by 60 or something. Oh yeah, this is the radius control. So we don't want to render just the points. We're gonna render the UV sphere. This is 3D noise value. Let's set the materials. Okay, now we have this material and we want to bake it. Okay, I will set smooth into this geometry. So it's already rendering correctly in Blender, but it's not yet goes into the face corner. We want it to be on the face corner. So in order to do that, I will create a duplicate. I will apply this geometry nodes. So I apply it. When I apply, the custom data blah is still there, and we just need to bake it. So blah still there. We just need to have vertex color, which we want to bake into. So Blender will be smart enough to be using this guy. So face corner still 111 by default. It's white color. Cycles, bake into emit. Baking. Now we check face corner, the color is there. Let's stop this render and then let's go to the vertex paint. Yeah, see, this color is there now. We can paint on top of it. Okay, it's a slightly weird, but yeah, you just remember if you want to bake from geometry nodes. Okay, I just keep one sphere. So this, yeah, this guy is rendering from the original custom data. However, if we use the color, vertex color, which gets the value from face corner into the emission, it shouldn't crash. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, this is the actual data baked into the vertex color, and you can file export this as PLY, Stanford PLY, and it should bring the vertex color in and out. So let's do a test vertex test vert, export PLY, file, import Stanford PLY desktop. Okay, it's only carrying the vertex color, but where's the okay, interesting. It should bring in the color. Maybe the PLY export is broken in this version of Blender, or I need to use the original PLY. File, import Stanford PLY. Desktop. Yeah, it's only bringing the points. Well, it's weird. But anyway, yeah, if you want to bake the geometry nodes, remember you need to remember you need to assign and apply these geometry nodes first, and then the value of these custom attributes will goes into the vertex anyway, and then you need to bake it into face corner. Okay, just that steps you will understand, while the things like point cloud render is a separate thing. Okay, this, yeah, I quite like this. I mean, in order to render that, you need to use the other material. UV sphere, mesh to points. Why is the color is not transferring now? Well, it works before. Maybe I'm using the 3.11. Maybe it works in 3.2. But anyway, I show you the whole things. There's a few glitch here and there, but hopefully you find it useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.